we have a navigational incident. Everybody safe. That's what I want to talk to.
33 lives were at stake on the ship to deliver cargo from Jacksonville, Florida to San Juan in Puerto Rico. The loss of the U.S.-flagged cargo vessel El Faro and its recorded death toll ranks as one of the greatest maritime catastrophes in U.S. history in over 40 years. Captain Davidson thought he could bypass the hurricane instead of just avoiding it. He underestimated the strength of the heavy storm that ended innocent lives. Was it the captain's fault, as many said? Or did the company, the Coast Guard, and the American Bureau of Shipping all have a hand on the helm of the SS El Faro as she steered too close to Hurricane Joaquin? This is an examination of a tragedy that has been well-researched and investigated. This is the dark story that took the lives of 33 sailors. El Faro, initially named Puerto Rico, was built by the Sun Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Corporation in Chester, Pennsylvania in 1975. It was initially designed as a roll-on-roll cargo ship measuring 790 feet, 240 meters in length. She had a 94-foot beam and a 42-foot draft. Propelled by a single shaft reduction compound steam turbine, she averaged 22 knots for her service speed. El Faro, a colossal vessel, was built in 1975 by the Sun Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Corporation in Chester, Pennsylvania. It was a true titan of the seas with a length of 790 feet, 240 meters, and a gross tonnage of 3,15115 tons. Powered by a steam turbine engine for its first 15 years of operation, it was used by a Puerto Rican company to haul cargo between the east coast of the U.S. and Puerto Rico from 1991 to 2003. The ship, now named Northern Lights, played a crucial role in the Iraq War. Chartered by the U.S. military in 2003, it served this chapter of its history until 2006, marking a significant period in its maritime journey. After the Iraq War, the ship demonstrated its resilience by returning to its original route between the U.S. and Puerto Rico, and the vessel's name was changed to SS El Faro. From there, it continued to serve as a lifeline between Puerto Rico and the United States, leading to its final voyage. One thing we need to note about the weather in San Juan, Puerto Rico, is that the surface low developing in the western Atlantic has been generating increasingly worse conditions out at sea, with thunderstorms and convective showers developing within its area over the day. As the low continues to develop, the thunderstorms and rain showers will increase in frequency and intensity. The possibility of these conditions evolving into a hurricane is on the rise. Weather reporters were diligently monitoring the situation, providing crucial updates. While these reports kept coming, they were particularly vital for shipping crews who had to heed the storm warning signs. In February 2015, she completed the American Bureau of Shipping class and statutory surveys. The National Transportation Safety Board said the ship met stability criteria and that weekly safety drills were performed. So she left Jacksonville, Florida for San Juan, Puerto Rico for her final voyage on September 25, 2015 at 8:10 p.m. On its final journey, El Faro was laden with a significant cargo, 391 shipping containers, approximately 294 trailers and cars, and a crew of 33. Despite the looming threat of Hurricane Joaquin, Captain Davidson, upon departure, made the fateful decision to adhere to El Faro's usual direct route to San Juan. This choice would place them south of the storm. However, it was known that the hurricane and tropical storm wind fields were projected to be alarmingly close to the ship's usual route, necessitating a more evasive action at departure. Hurricane Joaquin was still classified as a tropical storm. Still, meteorologists at the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, predicted it would likely become a hurricane 2 days later. On September 30th, 2015, at 6:40 a.m., Captain Davidson and his chief mate reviewed the updated weather data. After carefully considering the storm's projected path and intensity, they altered their course slightly, moving it southward. This decision was made in anticipation of the rapidly growing and intensifying Hurricane Joaquin, which was set to become a hurricane at 8 a.m. that day. Throughout the rest of September 30th and into the morning of October 1st, the storm continued brewing and was moving southwest by 11 p.m. The storm reached Category 3 intensity with reported wind speeds of 100 knots. At 11:05 p.m. on the bridge of El Faro, the third mate promptly called upon Captain Davidson. He warned him that maximum winds from Hurricane Joaquin had increased to upwards of 100 miles per hour, with the storm creeping closer and closer to the ship's intended track line. At 8 minutes later, the third mate again called the captain. This time, he made a proactive suggestion to divert to the south. The second mate, Daniel Randolph, also called around 1:20 a.m. to suggest a course through Crooked Island Passage near the Bahamas. Here's where things got a little cloudy. Roughly 10 hours after leaving Jacksonville, Florida, El Faro had deviated greatly from the original charted course. This was less than 20 hours after departure. The Coast Guard received a satellite notification from El Faro that the vessel had lost propulsion, had a 15-degree list, and had taken on water. However, the flooding was contained at the time the message came in. The Coast Guard, in its role as the primary responder to maritime emergencies, would also receive a single signal from the ship's emergency position indicating a radio beacon. The EPIRB is a portable, battery-operated radio transmitter crucial for commercial and recreational boats. In dire emergencies, locating ships in distress, like El Faro, that need immediate rescue is pivotal. The beacon is activated in an emergency and transmits a continuous 406 megahertz radio signal. This specific frequency is crucial as it is internationally recognized for distress signals, allowing search and rescue teams to use it to pinpoint the location of the distressed vessel. After this distress beacon was received, the Coast Guard tried to contact El Faro, but it couldn't. Marine traffic received El Faro's last reported position at 4:01 a.m. on October 1st, 2015, indicating she was heading south by southeast at 19 knots. However, according to a different marine positioning database relayed by routers, the final position was received at 7:56 a.m. that morning, about 35 nautical miles northeast of Crooked Island. Tragically, El Faro was in a highly precarious position within the hurricane's eye wall. This was the most dangerous part of the storm, where winds exceeded 80 knots and waves reached 20 to 30 feet, potentially engulfing the cargo vessel. The hurricane has three main parts: the eye, which is the storm center, the eye wall, which is the part of the storm right outside the eye, and lastly, the spiral rain bands that reach out like fingers off the storm. All Atlantic hurricanes turn counterclockwise due to the different air pressure systems and temperatures. The most dangerous spot is the eye wall, where the storm is the most intense. The eye typically is relatively calm, and the intensity wanes the further it gets out into the rain bands. At 7:17 a.m., the chief engineer promptly communicated with the chief mate and the captain via sound-powered phone to report that the bilge alarm was activated in 2 Alpha. The captain inquired of the chief mate regarding the feasibility of simultaneously pumping out all the cargo holds while discussing the escalating list. The chief mate responded that the vehicles were afloat within the cargo hold. Furthermore, he mentioned that the fire main was submerged beneath the water surface, obstructing his ability to assess the extent of the damage or determine if water was still infiltrating the area. Following a brief exchange with the chief mate, the captain contacted the chief engineer and inquired, "Can you isolate the fire central from down in the engine room? On the engine room side, the isolation valve on the suction for the fire pump, secure it, isolate it on your side so there's no accessible communication from the sea." At 7:24 a.m., Davidson, in communication with a crew member, stated, "We still possess sufficient reserve buoyancy and stability. The value at index 29 is 493. Subsequently, he instructed the second mate to activate the general alarm system and rouse the crew from slumbering. Subsequently, Davidson issued the command to evacuate the vessel, and approximately 60 seconds later, his voice resonated from the bridge, proclaiming, "Bow is down, bow is down." He then called over the UHF radio for the chief mate to get into your rafts, throw all your rafts into the water. Everybody get off the ship. Stay together! For the next several minutes, Davidson, displaying remarkable leadership, tried to assist a panicked helmsman in getting off the bridge, with alarms ringing all around. In a reassuring tone, the captain repeatedly told the helmsman not to panic. "Work your way up here. You're okay. Come on. And I'm not leaving you. Let's go." In a state of distress, the helmsman exclaimed, "I need a ladder, a line, and I need someone to help me." The VDR recording ends at 7:39 a.m. with the captain and the helmsman still on the bridge. The final words recorded were from Davidson to the helmsman 1 second before the end of the recording. "It's time to come this way." On October 1st, a WC-130J Super Hercules aircraft from the U.S. Air Force Reserve 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron failed to locate the Elfaro. On October 2nd, a Coast Guard HC-130H Hercules aircraft deployed from Coast Guard Air Station Clearwater in Florida initiated a dedicated search for the ship. The USC Northland and an MH-60T Jayhawk helicopter from CGS Clearwater were subsequently deployed to assist in the ongoing search operations. The MH-65 Dolphin helicopters deployed from Coast Guard Air Station Miami in Florida and Coast Guard Air Station Borinquen in Puerto Rico alongside the HC-144A Ocean Sentry fixed-wing patrol aircraft from Miami were also in attendance. During October 3rd, aircraft were observed operating in highly turbulent hurricane conditions, which were marked by wind speeds exceeding 100 knots, 185 kilometers per hour, 115 miles per hour, at an altitude of 1,000 feet, 300 meters, waves reaching heights of up to 40 feet, 12 meters, and visibility reduced to less than 1 nautical mile, 1.9 kilometers, 1.2 miles. Notwithstanding the difficult circumstances, a team of helicopter operators successfully retrieved a life ring from the vessel's wreckage known as Elfaro. On October 4th, conditions significantly improved as Joaquin shifted its direction towards the northeast, moving away from the Bahamas. During this time, the average wind speed was recorded at 15 knots, 28 kilometers per h, 17 miles per hour, and visibility was reported to be unlimited. Capitalizing on the favorable weather conditions, the helicopter sustained continuous flight for 11 hours, necessitating 2 refueling operations. On that particular day, an additional HC-130, the USCCC Charles Sexton and USCGC Resolute were deployed. Northland and Resolute conducted ongoing operations throughout the night, with engineers employing night vision goggles actively participating in the search efforts. On October 5th, the United States Navy deployed P-8A Poseidon fixed-wing aircraft from Naval Air Station Jacksonville to provide assistance. Additionally, 3 tugboats from Crowley Maritime were dispatched to the scene. By this date, search operations were conducted at a near-continuous pace. On October 5th, an unidentified body wearing a survival suit, believed to be associated with the Elfaro incident, was located but unfortunately not retrieved. As per the account provided by the rescue diver, the body was in an unidentifiable state, with its head exhibiting a size 3 times larger than usual. It was decided to postpone the retrieval of the body until later in the day. Nevertheless, a malfunction in the positioning device ultimately led to the unfortunate loss of the body. Several additional unopened survival suits have been successfully retrieved. The Coast Guard investigators attributed the fault to Captain Davidson of Elfaro. He failed to accurately assess the severity of the storm and the ship's susceptibility to adverse weather conditions. Furthermore, he neglected to implement sufficient measures to avoid the storm, despite his crew expressing apprehensions regarding its escalating intensity and shifting trajectory. According to the investigators, if Davidson had managed to survive the storm, his actions would have provided sufficient grounds for the Coast Guard to revoke his captain's license. According to Captain Jason Neubauer, who led the investigation, Davidson bore the ultimate responsibility for the vessel and its crew and for ensuring its safe navigation. What do you think about this incident? Is Captain Davidson to be blamed for not following orders? Or let's say blame the Coast Guard for not doing their duties? Let us know in the comments section below. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.